Hi, everybody. Okay. I am rushing. I am rushing to get on here and give you all of this news. Let's make sure it's all working. It's just, gosh, just can't be helped, right? Just can't be helped. We have so much news. Oh, we can't keep up with President Trump. He is just moving so fast with all his allies. And I can tell you, he is really working with Mexico, South America. It's just a lot is happening. And I didn't even know what to, I should have just said recent developments, right? Breaking news, because there's so much of it. There's so much today. So let's get started. This is 3,000. Oh gosh, don't say 3,000. 2,209 days since our son, Richard Halliday, was forcibly removed from his barracks room and taken downstairs in building 2479 to the arms room, a restricted area, but his platoon leader, Dallas Hart, had access. He's the prime suspect. Took him to this uh, arms room and took his life, and then used their cartel network because of mortuary operations were family to him, the Solomon Anusa, and then CID, former CID agent Tavita Nusa, and then, of course, his mother, Lalani Hart. And there's others too that stole his body off of Fort Bliss, getting rid of a lot of evidence, okay, storing it, using motorcycles. More and more information is coming out of the cars they used and everything. Um, and stealing Richard's body off of Fort Bliss. Of course, this is, uh, the uh, the COVID time, right? The COVID time was such a huge cover for all of this, right? And of course, um, the fear of this, the control that the grip that's on El Paso and Fort Bliss allowed them to traffic Richard's remains over the border because they have a network, right? They have network of infiltrators in our government system, in our agencies, in our courthouse, judicial system, in the AUSA, in the DA's office. And we have the receipts for all of that, and we've documented it, and we've shared it with everybody. We've shared it with everybody. And the media, you can tell that they're complicit with all of this because they won't even share the Mayella Crucius family connection to the Walmart mass shooting shooter. They won't even do that. And that is confirmed. That is absolutely confirmed. That is hard evidence, hard facts, and jaw dropping breaking news. And the media won't touch it because of this grip on El Paso and in Texas over, our politicians and, those that have compromised. They've compromised so many people in all of this. And so, uh, we've worked 6 years with President Trump, with whistleblowers, with other victims that have survived this uh, cartel grip, this terroristic organization, this Mormon Mafia terroristic organization. I can't wait till President Trump designates the Mormon Mafia as a terroristic organization, a specially designated terroristic organization. He should absolutely do that because they are a big, big part of this CJNG, Sinaloa, Juarez cartels that, and of course, Tren de Aragua. Um, uh, they were all working together with this fuel theft, with the trafficking, with the children, the trafficking of children, the weapons trafficking, the drug trafficking, and of course the big money with the fuel trafficking, and or this whole pipeline, the theft, the fuel theft of it all. Big money on that. It's huge, but they needed all the other trafficking to compromise everybody, so that they would live in fear, live controlled, live as slaves. And then here comes Richard, free, absolutely free. And uh, and said, "Not on my watch, not on my watch, not in my country," and started reporting them, pulling on that watchicle string, the child trafficking string, and the child sexual exploitation with CPS. Multiple times he filed reports there, and they they wanted to cover up, just like the Mayela Crucius family connection with the Walmart mass shooter. They wanted to cover up that Richard was a whistleblower and under whistleblower protection. And but all of that has come out, and they still have a smear. They refuse to take down the smears reports that they did. But that's going to happen. That's going to happen because the evidence is now confirmed with President Trump's letters, with the in the line of duty designation, with all the other mountains of evidence, and of course, with all of the actions that President Trump is taking right now. So let's look at them. Let's look at them. And earlier today, and this is how I labeled today's live stream. I labeled it of the arrest on August 19th. So today is August 21st. Well, it's 12:41 a.m. in the morning on August 21st. So there was a big arrest made, and I want to put that up. Let's see if I can find where I can start. Oh my gosh, that's a good one too. John Briggs, the Brutus of the El Paso courthouse. I love that one. That's why I'm like, okay, yeah, let's start here. This is really important development here now. So, okay, so today we had a major, or on the 19th, we had a major arrest of Fausto Ernesto Corrales Rodríguez. And he is right here. Okay, that's him. And you know me, I put together a crime board, right? And sometimes it can be confusing for people, but for us, it is putting all the pieces of the puzzle together to help us understand what's going on and who's who. And of course, we have El Mayo here, the Sinaloa founder, right? With El Chapo. El Chapo and El Mayo, they teamed up and formed the Sinaloa cartel. They are the founders of the Sinaloa cartel. And, you know, according to our sources, El Chapo, of course, got arrested by President Trump's in his first term, and El Chapo's son also was arrested, and his other son made a deal to hand over El Mayo, who, is, in his 80s, and is a really bad guy. Okay, disclaimer, he's a really bad guy. But he's old school, right? He's old school, and he has a huge following even today, and they wanted to manipulate El Mayo, and they wanted to, I guess they wanted to get rid of him. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get rid of him to take over it all for themselves. Okay. The fuel thieves, the traffickers, the CJNG alliance with the El Paso cartel, with the El Chapo Sinaloa arm of the El Chapo arm of the Sinaloa cartel, the Juarez cartel with the La Linea, with the Mormon mafia, with, inside that golden triangle. And of course, up into the premium basin with all of that fuel theft going on. And so they decided, they schemed and conspired and colluded and came up with a plan to kidnap El Mayo. Okay, during that kidnapping of El Mayo, they killed Quinn. See if I can get this closer. Yeah, this is a little bit closer. Here's Quinn. He's a politician. He was killed that day. Um, let's see if I can. Uh, let's see if I can. Geez, I can't see what's going on now. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. So this is Quinn. Yeah. And of course, this is Fausto, and he was the driver that day to meet with El Chapo's son. El Mayo was going to meet with El Chapo's son, and it turned out to be a setup, a kidnapping, a bag over the head of El Mayo, and it was pretty violent. So that the picture that this FBI agent here, this Mormon mafia operative here, um, put out, uh, it is it is AI. It is AI because they have El Mayo walking off the plane. Um, our sources and also the evidence, he was really mistreated, and he's an older man. And I told you he's not a good guy, right? But he's an older man, and in his first court appearance, he was in a wheelchair. Okay, he was in a wheelchair. He couldn't even walk, so I don't think he was walking off the plane. Okay, our sources say no way was he walking off the plane, and even El Mayo and his testimony, that's not how that went over. And of course, that wasn't the right plane, and all that stuff. It doesn't matter. The big thing is, I mean, it does all matter in the investigation, but the big thing is that Fausto was the driver who lied and deceived authorities because he was saying that Quinn got killed at a gas station, and that is not what the evidence shows. And so he's been arrested, and uh, that deception is now extra charges against him because Quinn was killed and El Mayo was kidnapped, and And President Scheinbaum has even said that 1,650 people died in the wake of this kidnapping. Okay. In the wake of this kidnapping, you're talking about almost 1,700 people that were killed in the wake of this kidnapping. So, and I put up this picture here of Fausto in front of the Santa Monica Pier. This is a solar operated is it a carousel? What is it called? Anyway, um, and he's there, he's there. He comes into the United States, right? He comes into the United States. He's not staying in Sinaloa. Okay. He's not staying there. And so this is the real danger of having these cartel infiltrators. But now we have 175,000 visas that were rescinded. And so President Trump is absolutely working very, very hard to make the southern border safe again. Safe again. Okay. So this is a really very big deal because this is the same group. What it tells you is that this is an ongoing investigation with ongoing arrests, ongoing investigation, ongoing arrests. And we are really, really hoping that Connell Wetton, who ordered this operation, this kidnapping, the where it resulted in the killing of Quinn, the politician, the Mexican politician, and then 1,650 deaths in the wake of that operation. We hope that he gets arrested really soon too, because he's up to no good, because we've confirmed that he is the one that leaked our son, since he was a whistleblower reports that were blocked. And of course, then the retaliation came, and Richard asked for a transfer that was denied. But his identity was leaked by Connell Wetton to the cartel, because Connell Wetton is operative for the Mormon Mafia, and has very close ties and works for the, aids and abets the terroristic organizations, the Sinaloa, the CJNG, the Juarez Cartel, the La Linea. Those are all terroristic organizations now, designated as special designated terroristic organizations by the Trump administration. And so I think, when you're an imposter, right? As far as your duty and loyalty go, and you've infiltrated into the FBI, and you're holding on to an FBI badge that you swore to defend the Constitution of the United States, yet you are defending the cartel, the terroristic organizations that are working to destroy your country. I think you need to be arrested. I think so. I don't think I'm asking too much there. So I'm waiting for him to get arrested, just like this Fausto. And of course, El Mayo is arrested. And that would be a great thing, a very great thing. And then there's several others. So we're working on it. We've got on this paper, we've got one to go there, right? We got one to go. Is Connell Wetton next? He needs to be next. He needs to be next. So we'll see. Okay, so that's the big one that happened today. Let's see. And then, of course, we have this. I thought this was so interesting. I watched it. Um, this is the Secretary Wright. He's the energy secretary, and he was right there in West Texas. and touring the Premium Basin, and inside there is a Delaware Basin. It is the largest oil field in the United States, and he was in an ExxonMobil hat, which I thought was interesting. It wasn't a Marathon Petroleum hat. I'm sure there's all kinds of oil companies there because it is huge. It's huge. If you've ever been to Texas, you know that I'm not over exaggerating when I say it is the largest oil field in the United States. Then your jaws drop because it's big. It is huge. So he was there at the Premium Basin where all of this theft is going on. And he's saying we can produce more oil and gas at less cost than ever before. And I'm like, yep, if you continue to arrest and stop the theft like you're doing, because every day we see more and more arrests for stopping the theft of oil, then the prices will go down, right? So, and it's not only that, it's the manipulation of the taxes, of the paperwork, of the kind of fuel, and then to export it out of the country, right? This fuel theft was very sophisticated, and and I'll let the investigation and the investigators announce all the rest of the stuff, but it's happening. That's what I'm saying. It is happening. It's really good. And the message being sent is low fuel prices. Low fuel prices. That these companies, without the theft, can really make a load of money um, and charge people very low prices that they haven't seen in a long time. There's plenty of fuel there, y'all. There's plenty of fuel. The earth makes it. And and I know I've uh, been in debates about it, but the earth makes it, and it's I call it the renewable fuel, that black gold, the renewable fuel, and of course this is also natural gas. So so yeah, this is really really good news here. So I wanted to share that with you because and I'll go up here to this because I think this connects with it. So this was another arrest that just happened today. Okay. The 19th, 20th, the 20th of August. We have 21st right now, but it's, 1 a.m. in the morning. So this is really interesting. This is um, Navy admirals that are being arrested, okay, and extradited from Argentina to Mexico, okay? So they have close ties to Mexico, and I'll probably just do it from my memory. And I'll learn more about it later. But he, of course, this is uh I think his brother, that was also a rear admiral, was just arrested earlier. Okay. And I didn't catch that in the news, but I did catch this one. And of course, really piqued my interest. Number one is, months ago, I wasn't really looking for fuel theft. I did not realize how huge it was. And we knew in our family that they were stealing fuel off of Fort Bliss. Okay, we knew that, but we didn't realize how huge this pipeline, this massive fuel theft, what was going on at the border, and so to see military leaders, not little, military that want to make an extra buck because they're not getting paid very much being in the military. No, these are admirals, these are generals, and I've been saying for years that the generals in our son's case are just treasonous, absolutely treasonous, mutinous, and treasonous. Okay, and not because I'm a mad mama or something like this. No, because that's what the evidence confirms. The evidence confirms that they are treasonous, and and some people were like, "Oh no, don't say that." And I'm like, "What do you mean? You want some treasonous generals leading our volunteer sons and daughters? I don't. Look at what happened in the barracks. Look at what happened. 14-year-old girl living in the barracks being pimped out, the drugs, the alcohol, the lack of the discipline on purpose to compromise our volunteer sons and daughters so that they wouldn't say anything about the trafficking operations going on, the total theft of our military, the fuel theft going on. Let's just compromise and confuse our whole military. They were shaking like leaves. And this is because the leadership was so compromised too and in on it. And in on it. This is treason, absolute treason, and mutinous, right? Mutinous, because we know that they were attacking President Trump and trying to sabotage his reelection. Okay, the evidence absolutely shows that. So this is a mutiny, and you don't want to say it because it's a little embarrassing that you have generals that you give everything to, that you trust them and say thank you for your service and give them the best retirement packages and housing and aids and transportation and plenty of vacation time and holidays and all of that. And I can tell you because my husband spent 30 years in the Army, and I understand all of the wonderful trust and the gifts that the American people have given my husband. And he absolutely is a stellar soldier, decorated soldier, never took advantage of the trust and the duty that he had to the American people and that they had in him. And so to see these generals that got everything, all the love, all the respect, all the benefits from the American people to defend our Constitution, to love our country, to serve with honor, and to be so treasonous and so mutinous. It's pretty sickening. It's pretty sickening because it caused our son's death. This is what murdered Richard because he asked for transfers. They didn't even give it to him. They didn't even keep him safe. The barracks were a total disaster. He had where could he go? And the very chain of command is the prime suspects in his murder. Now we're finding out that the locks on the doors didn't even work. He couldn't even lock his door. But if he could lock his door, the platoon leader has the key. So this kind of treason, you know, and in the Navy there, I don't know how Mexico is going to handle this, but I wouldn't take it lightly at all. I don't take it lightly at all. Um, yeah, I'm so glad they're arrested. And I'll tell you why, because um, General Kelly, John Kelly, Marine General, who is, got so much love from our country, totally treasonous. He went over and worked for Maru Campos, the El Chapo fentanyl governor. I mean, how worse can you get to have no bid contracts for these unaccompanied migrant children camps, making millions off of that, saying I'm going to be her security advisor. And who introduced? Well, Alejandro de la Vega Foster, because Alejandro de la Vega Foster was sitting on the committees in Chihuahua, Mexico for border security. I mean, he needs to be arrested. I've been asking for his arrest for a long time now, a long time. And it's heartbreaking. It doesn't make you happy at all to want the arrest of Sean Bernabe and Donna Martin and John Kelly and Michael Xavier Garrett, a four-star general. James McConville, four-star general. So many. Mealy, right? Mealy, Mark Mealy. Absolutely mutinous. What a traitor. Four-star, right? And so to see, and people say, oh no, that couldn't happen. Look, it's happening. These two admirals were arrested for massive, very sophisticated fuel theft. And they were arrested in Argentina and extradited back to Mexico. If we can't trust our admirals and our generals, we're in big trouble. And so that's why accountability absolutely needs to be like pronto. Pronto. Because Fort Bliss, and I can tell you with James Stewart, with James Eisenhower, of course, Curtis Taylor now, Sean Bernabe, especially Sean Bernabe, and those that lied to our face. Sean Bernabe retired as a 3-star general. He needs to be stripped from our beautiful uniforms, his stars. Those are our stars. They were on loan to him. When he commits this treason, he had Judge Roger Rodriguez's whistleblower report naming those prime suspects in the murder of our son on his desk and did not notify us. Hid it. Not only that, conducted a smear campaign, a false smear campaign on our soldier that is a hero, on our son that is a hero, that did his duty. I am waiting for his arrest. I hope that he faces the penalty for treason. And when that happens, I want to be on the front row. I want the front row seat. You understand, our son was forcibly removed from his barracks room, taken down to the arms room, his life taken, dismembered, desecrated, on Fort Bliss, stolen, trafficked, cashed in on, because they're all about that. Let's cash in on the VA death benefits. Let's cash in on unidentified migrant humanitarian aid. Oh, let's go over to Mexico, cash in again on organ harvesting and unidentified migrant humanitarian aid in Mexico. What they did, what he allowed and what he covered up, is not something that you ignore, and not something you spend just a few years in prison for, and not something you're supposed to get a 3rd star for, or second, or he needs to be stripped and face the consequences for his treason and mutiny. And he's not the only one. And so years ago, when I was saying these things, and they were like, this is not possible that General Kelly would do something like this, that Sean Bernabe would do something like this, that Mark Mealy would do something like this. Now it absolutely is possible and confirmed that they did something like this. And now, worse than what I even thought, because this is some deep state, major, massive theft on the people of the United States and Mexico, all the way to Argentina, and probably more. And then the money laundering. And the money laundering in the crypto world, in the gambling world, and then in timeshares where they took advantage of older people. I mean, it just is a domino effect of all the crime. And thank God for President Trump. Thank God. And thank God for so many whistleblowers that have come forward. Thank God for our son, because his reports are no longer being ignored. So this is not something impossible anymore. These are admirals being arrested. Admirals being arrested. I've waited a long time to see this. Now I'm wanting it to be U.S. generals and arrested. Other news tonight is West Star Bank. West Star Bank is up to no good, right? They're up to no good. We all know that they're up to no good. And the city of El Paso tried to uh, put on a 3-year ban, and or the city council then, got cold feet and took it off the oh, what do you call it? Let me see, I put it on there. Um, they said they were going to wait. They postponed it. They pulled it off of the city council agenda without debate. They're going to postpone it for additional administrative review. Okay, time to add more to it then. because they are definitely flagged in an audit. We know about the Walmart mass shooting victims funds. We know their connection to Paul Foster and William Sanders and Woody Hunt, especially Woody Hunt. Of course, Rick Francis and David Osborne. We know um, the connections of that. And what this is telling you is that people in El Paso absolutely are becoming more brave and courageous and doing the right thing, trying to put a ban on a 3-year ban on West Star Bank from doing business in El Paso with El Paso. So that's good news. Okay, didn't go through, but that it happened tells you a lot. And yeah, so it's up for review still, right? This is what it said: additional administrative review. So that's good. Everybody write and say absolutely ban them. Ban West Star Bank. Okay, we can't have banks operating like this, and this is our big problem. We have a lot of banks that are, will do all the money laundering and all that stuff, or take illicit money from illicit activities. So, yeah, that needs to be addressed also because we pay for all the crime that they do. And there's plenty of articles and everything about that. So, yeah, we're kind of sick of it and all these high taxes, which goes to uh, Ricardo Samaniago, right? Ricardo Samaniago, who, yeah, he is, gosh, the power to tax is the power to destroy. And Ricardo Samaniago, and we all know him from the whole COVID thing. And, it was like laws for you and laws for me, and the party at his house, and all of that stuff. And he was so hard at, would fine people, if they weren't 6 feet apart and all this stuff. But here he is, a legacy of corruption and legalized theft because he doesn't raise the taxes. He just approves the spending, like the $75,000 that was spent to give to John Briggs, right? When John Briggs put in a frivolous lawsuit and even didn't mind the statute of limitations. It was past the statute of limitations. The city of or the county of El Paso was saying, look, we have no obligation. He was fired because he's up to no good. He was fired. Tough luck. Tough luck. We don't admit to anything. We don't admit to any wrongdoing. You know, but yet Ricardo Samaniago approved $75,000 for John Briggs. And I think John Briggs needs to give that money back and then some. That's how I feel about that because that was illegal. That was illegal. And now, of course, Ricardo Samaniago is, allows the spending and then the taxing and the spending and the taxing. And he is just, of course, with Mario Raskin Ortiz, the cartel operative that decides the cause and manner of death and is paid $500,000. You heard me right, $500,000 a year to be the chief medical examiner, and he's in the country illegally. We have the receipts to that. He's not qualified for that position, and he's in the country illegally, and yet Ricardo Samaniago signs off on $500,000 to him to sign his name for the cause and manner of death. And we know that he finagles autopsies or death certificates. Death certificates. Yeah. And of course, death certificates are finagled. I mean, you got 400 bodies over there where he's from, rotting, piled up. Now, well, it comes to the next thing. The next thing is 3 bodies were found again in Juarez. Like, what about the shock and awe of the over 400 bodies that were at Plenitude Crematorium that were piled up like trash and rat infested, filthy, no air conditioned, no potable water, and by the hands of the governor's mother and group of purchase ties to the Arellano Caron family? And the owner, Plenitude, sharing office space with El Paso Matters, like El Paso Foundation in El Paso. And that is not shock and awe enough to arrest. No, they can't even get a red notice for Interpol done. These are cover-up artists or criminals. And Carlos Manuel Salas, the prosecutor over there, is a total disgrace. And he was handpicked by Mauro Campos, the El Chapo fentanyl governor of Chihuahua. And this is where our son's remains were disposed of. This is personal to us. And now, this is just a year ago. They're still trying to identify these bodies. And because they're not doing anything about it, then other people think that they can get away with hiding dead bodies in their houses. It's just unbelievable. So I think I covered the news, like I said, and I made a post for each of these, and I hope that you share them, because this is all breaking news really, it's good news, because except for this finding these bodies, because Mauro Campos is under investigation for treason and can't even square away the sacrilege going on in Chihuahua. So, because all these bodies have money trails. They collect on them. They collect Social Security and humanitarian aid and insurance and identities and all that. It is a real scandal. A real scandal. So that this is all coming out, that this is being exposed, that the Golden Triangle, Mormon Mafia, cartel terroristic organizations are all being exposed, and they cannot work in the shadows. And you have Justin Underwood being exposed. You have John Briggs being exposed. Westar Bank is being exposed. You have military high leadership being exposed. And it goes on and on. And this is really good news, because the only way they can really operate is when they're in the shadows. So to expose them, to arrest them, to hold them accountable is what uh, you know is taking away their currency. Their currency is their reputation, right? Oh, that's why they give each other all these awards and this and that. Oh, we're so good. Soraldi, remember Soraldi, the number one attorney in El Paso, and then he turns out to be picking up trafficking victims, sexually exploiting them, bringing them back to their captors when he's done with them. And then, um, Montoya, the 2028 stamp fake DA right now. Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's just, and then the media is not even covering that. Is saying, "Oh, Soraldi, my buddy, okay, we'll just charge you with soliciting a prostitution," and there's no prostitution involved. This was a victim of trafficking. That is not a prostitute. So this is what they're doing, and they're being exposed, and that is by the thanks of everybody for sharing all of this information, and for putting in your own complaints, um, and posting on your own pages. This is really, really what is making this all happen, and so we're very, very grateful. And yeah, I'll be back. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. And of course, a big thank you to President Trump and his administration that are really exposing all of this. And I had one person ask, what are they going to do with this fuel theft? Well, President Trump is absolutely conducting a war. And his number one general is General Besant, okay, the finance secretary, because he is ruthlessly, rightfully so, um, freezing these assets, bank accounts, investments. So, that's saving a lot of lives while bringing down this whole pipeline and trafficking corridor operations. So, thank you so much. Please continue to share. Please continue to pray for us, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you so much. Bye bye.